December 23rd, Oak Park, 10 a.m. Kevin walked proudly toward the village of Oak Park. He had just done several very adult things and was quite pleased with himself. To start with, Kevin had spent the whole night at home alone. He'd even managed to sleep for a while. Then this morning, for the first time in his life, he'd taken a shower all by himself and washed every part of his body with actual soap, including all the major crevices, like those in between his toes and his belly button, which he had never washed before. He was surprised to find that he sort of enjoyed it. He had also washed his hair with adult formula shampoo and used a cream rinse for that just wash shine. The only thing he hadn't done was brush his teeth, mostly because he couldn't find his toothbrush. But that was why he was doing another incredibly grown-up thing today. He was walking to town by himself to buy a toothbrush. Kevin passed the church in Santa's village, where Santa sat in a hut and his elf brought in all the kids to see him. He reached into his pocket and felt money he had taken from the tin box on top of Buzz's shelf. In the process, he accidentally knocked down a book, which hit Axel's terrarium and broke it. Axel the tarantula had escaped, but Kevin planned to find him later. As for the money, Kevin didn't think Buzz would mind, wherever he was. The only scary part about going out alone was walking down his street, past all the bushes and hedges. Old Man Marley could have been hiding behind any of them. But Kevin had done it, and now he was entering the village of Oak Park, with its ice skating pond and quaint two-story brick buildings. And he was no longer worried about old Man Marley. Kevin passed the post office and the butcher and the candy store. It was getting close to lunchtime, and he was feeling a little hungry. He knew that with the money in his pocket, he could have bought a ton of candy, but he was being grown up, and that meant buying a toothbrush instead. If I keep this up, Kevin thought, I'll almost qualify to be a teenager. Ding-a-ling! A little bell rang as Kevin stepped into the drugstore. He wandered past shelves filled with shampoo and deodorants and Dr. Scholl's footstuff until he found the toothbrush rack. Kevin had never realized how many different sizes, shapes, and colors of toothbrushes there were. He could only assume that people must have brushed their teeth a lot, maybe even once a week. Okay, once a week? Really? Kevin picked a red toothbrush with white and blue bristles and took it to the counter. An old lady with the painted face stared down at him. She was a little scary looking, but he could deal with her. "How may I help you?" she asked. "Is this toothbrush approved by the American Dental Association?" Kevin asked. The old lady held the toothbrush close to her face and tried to read the tiny print on the side of the package. Ding-a-ling! Someone else entered the drugstore, but neither Kevin nor the old lady bothered to look. They were too busy trying to figure out whether the toothbrush was approved or not. "It doesn't say, hon," the old lady said, putting the toothbrush down on the counter. "Let me ask my husband." She walked toward the bag where the prescriptions were filled. "Herb, I have a question about a toothbrush," she said. Kevin picked up the toothbrush and stared at the label, but there were too many big words. All of a sudden, out of the corner of his eye, he noticed someone coming down the aisle toward him. There was something disturbingly familiar about that slow limping shuffle. A large bloody hand slapped down on the counter. Kevin's heart started to race as his eyes followed the long tattered sleeve of the overcoat up to Old Man Marley. Kevin backed away. Old Man Marley waved his bloody hand at him. "Cut it on my snow shovel," he said, on the sharp edge. Kevin took another step back. His mouth was dry, and goosebumps raced up and down his arms. His heart beat like a drum. Meanwhile, the old lady came back to the counter. "Hun, I'm sorry. We don't know if—" Kevin didn't hear her. He was backing toward the door. "Hun," the old lady said, you pay for that here." Kevin was staring at Marley's bloody hand and thinking about the snow shovel with a sharp edge. Sharp enough to kill people, even a whole family. "Little boy," the old lady called. "Come back and pay for that, please." Kevin couldn't believe he made it to the door alive. He pushed it open and ran outside. A moment later, the old lady reached the door. "Hey! Stop that boy!" she shouted. "Darn, these shoplifters get younger all the time." "Shoplifter?" Kevin stopped on the sidewalk and turned. But he wasn't. A police car came around the corner. The old lady was pointing at Kevin. The police car stopped and a cop got out. "See that boy?" the old lady shouted. "He just robbed my store." Kevin's eyes went wide. That was a lie. Why was she saying that? But the police officer was coming toward him, and he was big and scary. Kevin turned and ran as fast as he could down the sidewalk. Ahead, people were skating on the pond. Kevin raced toward them and dove stomach first, like Pete Rose. Skaters jumped out of the way as he shot across the ice. Behind him, the policeman hit the ice and flipped backward. Then 2 skaters fell on top of him. Kevin reached the other side of the pond and raced down the street. He passed Santa's village and the church and had to run around the life-size nativity scene of Joseph and Mary and the little drummer boy standing over the manger. He turned down Rivard Street and headed toward his house, cutting through backyards. Finally, he jumped over a fence into his own backyard. He quickly pulled open the kitchen door, then slammed it behind him, leaning against it, trembling. As he slowly calmed down, he became aware of something in his clenched hand. Kevin looked down. The toothbrush! He felt a new wave of fright wash over him. He really was in trouble. Not only had he made his family disappear, but now the police would be after him. "I'm a criminal," he whispered. Meanwhile, in the Benson's house, next to Old Man Marley's place, 2 real criminals were hard at work, taking what wasn't theirs. "I'm telling you," Harry said as he dumped out the Benson's drawer on the bedroom floor, "there's something screwy about that McCallister house." "But we saw the lights go on," Marv said. "After the timer lights." "Yeah, but here's what I figure," Harry said. "These people know us burglars know about those timers. So if this guy McCallister is smart, he gets 2 timers. So the first one turns on a few lights and we think it's the timer. But when the second set of lights go on, we're supposed to think it's real people." "That's pretty advanced thinking," Marv said. "I say we just forget the McCallister place." "I'm telling you, Marv, that house is ripe," Harry said. Just then the phone rang, and the Benson's answering machine clicked on. Both crooks stared at it. "Hello, you have reached the home of Bill, Betsy, Bonnie, and Barry Benison, but we're not here. Please leave your name and phone number after the beep, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible." The caller started to speak. "Hi, it's Peter McCallister again. We're at my brother's apartment in Paris. The number here is..." Marv stepped over and turned off the speaker. He smiled at Harry. "Okay, you're right. They're in Paris. That guy's just got 2 timers going. When do you want to hit the place?" "Suppose we finish up this side of the street first," Harry said. "Then we'll do it. Like I always say, save the best for last." December 23rd, Orly Airport, 8:30 p.m., Paris time. Kate had put herself on standby for no less than 15 flights back to the States and hadn't come close to getting any of them. She couldn't stop thinking of Kevin alone, frightened, helpless in that house. What a terrifying experience for a 7-year-old. It was probably doing irreversible psychological damage to him. She imagined coming home and finding him curled up in a corner sucking his thumb. Kate was starting to feel desperate, and that meant taking desperate action. A flight to Chicago was scheduled to leave in half an hour. The waiting list was so long the airline wouldn't even let her put her name on it. But there were other ways to get on board. Kate spotted a plump middle-aged woman carrying a heavy handbag and wearing a Chicago Cubs baseball cap. Go Cubs. The woman was headed for the Chicago departure gate until Kate stepped in her way. "Excuse me," Kate said. I must get on that flight to Chicago, but there's no room. So here's my offer. I have $500, a pocket translator, and 2 first-class tickets for a flight leaving next week. I'll trade it all for your coach ticket." Kate stopped and thought. She was looking at Kate's wristwatch. "Is that a real Rolex?" the woman asked. "Yes," Kate held up the watch. "See how the second hand sweeps instead of ticking to each second? That's how you can tell." The woman nodded. "What else you got?" "Well," Kate thought fast. Then she started pulling her jewelry off. "I've got this gold necklace, bracelet, and sapphire ring." "That's a nice ring," the woman said. Kate felt encouraged. The woman actually seemed interested. Then a portly man wearing a hearing aid with a Chicago White Sox cap came by. Boo Sox. Come on, Irene, the man said. They're gonna board soon. Wait, Ed, Irene said. This woman's offering us 2 first-class tickets to Chicago for next week, plus a ring, a pocket translator, $500, and I'll throw in the Samsonite luggage, Kate offered eagerly. Ed took off his cap and scratched his head. It's a nice offer, but what about our Christmas plans? Don't forget the bracelet, Kate said. I didn't care for the bracelet, said Irene. Kate showed it to Ed in case he liked it. She was so close. She couldn't let them slip through her fingers now. Nah, I don't like the bracelet either, Ed said. He started to pull Irene away. Thanks anyway. But the ring, Kate said, following them. You like the ring, ma'am. She's got plenty of rings, Ed said, pulling his wife harder. Now come on, Irene, let's go. Wait, Kate begged. Please, my little boy is home all by himself. I'm desperate. I beg you, from a mother to a mother, please. Ed, Irene was wavering. She looked back at her husband. Ed tapped his ear. Say what? Darn hearing aid went out. Come on, honey. He yanked her away. Kate stood in the middle of the gate area as passengers rushed by her to board the plane. She was almost ready to cry. Why was there no humanity left in this world? I'm going to stop there and ponder that question myself. So please join me for the next reading.